Hi, welcome to Messier Mantra. I'm your host, Mike Messier, with special guest, actor Gail Sullivan.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Gail. Now, how did you get started in acting?
Actually, once I retired, my granddaughter had a little bit of a problem with an acting teacher. And then Hollywood East came to Plymouth, and I said to her, why don't you take some classes? She was a little bit afraid, so I said, well, hey, I'll take some.
So you took the classes with her?
No, they didn't have children's classes yet.
Okay.
So I took the adult class, and it was the same teacher.
Right.
I said, you will love him. It was Kevin Lassett.
Okay.
And she ended up taking a class with him, and she did love it. But she was just a little bit afraid to begin with. I had never thought about taking acting, but I fell in love with it. I just kept going with the classes.
And one of the pieces that I've seen you in, we're going to talk about a lot on this episode of Messier Mantra, is a piece that I saw at the University of Rhode Island film students, end of season, end of semester programs last year, 2016. Now we're in 2017. It's a really nice piece. Why don't you tell me about it and the director that you worked with?
It was Brandon LaFleur, and it was called Nana. And it was a really nice piece. It was about a grandmother who ended up bringing up her grandson because her daughter really could not get over her alcoholism. She finally did, but not until the grandmother had already died.
Right.
And it was done with some flashbacks, so I used my own hair for the flashbacks, and I had a gray wig for when I was on my last legs there. And at that point, this grandson that I had brought up had done everything for me, and he was my go-to person at the very end with the doctors, and he tried to get my daughter to come and see me. Didn't work, but he was there for me as I was there for him when he was young.
So there's really and I've seen the piece, there's a three main character dynamic between your character, the mom or the grandmother, to the grandson who she raises, and then the mom who's kind of the middle generation who's having the trouble with the alcohol.
Yeah.
So it's pretty intense. And from what I understand, that phenomena of grandparents raising children is more and more common these days. Is that correct?
Oh, it certainly is. And actually, we're going to show this film at my Council on Aging to the grandparents that are bringing up their grandchildren. They have a meeting once a month, and we're going to show it there.
What do you think their reaction may be? We don't know because we can't predict the future. But what is the general thoughts of these type of issues with the Council on the Aging for people that are raising grandkids?
Well, the head of the Council on Aging was raising her grandchild, and she saw it, and she wanted me to show it, and wants me to speak to the people. So at the very end of the month, that's what I'm going to be doing. She felt that it was definitely worthwhile for them to see that this kid was able to grow up normally and able to then be wonderful to his grandmother as she had been so good to him.
I want to ask the nice people here at TV9 and Seekonk to show us some still photos. In just a moment, they'll put some still photos up, and we'll be able to check them out and as we talk about the piece some more. Here we go. So here's you in a scene. Actually, this is new work.
This
I'm sorry.
is the new work
the new
by
work,
Brandon
so we'll jump ahead a
LaFleur.
little bit, but this is some new work from Brandon. And tell me about, now who are these people? These are actors that you're working with in a new piece?
Yes, and I had just met them that day.
Okay.
Trying to think of this gentleman's name. That's Jack Shipley. Didn't see him that day. I've been in 2 movies with him.
Okay.
Never met him on set because we have not been in the same scenes.
I think we're going to get to a picture. Here's some cool shots. The director of Nana, I think we've got a picture of him coming up too.
We do.
And this guy looks pretty intense. He looks like a
He played my husband.
Okay.
His name was Mark.
Okay. Oh,
And
here he
there's
is.
Brandon, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So Brandon wrote Nana, and he has written this new film called An Older Affair.
An older affair.
Yes.
So what's an older affair about then?
Well, my husband has had a secret for a long time, and he finally tells me about it, and it's something that is a little tough to handle.
Is
So
it an
I can't-
affair?
Well, in a way, yeah.
Okay.
But it's not, I can't give away the
All right.
plot.
It's playing, was it May 12th?
It's May 12th that it's going to be showing at URI.
Okay.
And then it'll be going to festivals. And then I'll get a copy and I'll be able to show it
So
to my
for
friends.
those that happen to catch the Messier Mantra before May 12th, 2017, come on down to URI.
URI,
which I
yes.
saw Nana last year, and check out Brandon's new film. And so he's used you now 2 years back to back. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
exciting.
It definitely is. And he had emailed me with the script and asked if I would be interested. And after reading it, I said, oh, definitely. And I have to say that all of the actors in it were able to bring a lot of emotion to this movie.
Well, speaking of which, as far as emotion and acting, let's take a look at a clip from the first piece, Nana. We're going back and we're
Okay,
playing time
yes.
games here. So we'll take a look at Nana when we get that clip up, and we'll see you in the kitchen scene, I believe, with the daughter character. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so
yeah.
this is a clip from Brandon LaFleur's Nana. We're going to check that out on Messier Mantra in just a moment.
What's the recipe again, Mom?
Her name was
Oh,
Demetra.
could you give me some of that baking powder, please?
Thanks. Now, here. Add in the baking powder, then the baking soda, a little bit of salt, then you need to add that all to the butter, the sugar, the eggs, and the vanilla. But you have to make sure that that butter's been creamed.
How many cups of butter?
Just one.
Really? I usually put in a cup and a half. It makes the cookies softer.
Oh, does it? I'll have to remember that. Now, the secret to this, don't overmix. Mix it just enough so you can't see the flour anymore. Just so it sticks to the bowl, and it's sticky just enough so that you can roll it into balls. And that makes perfect cookies. That's it.
Very nice, a good connection. And then as I watched the full piece last year, which I think is about 22 minutes,
Yes.
it's there's that connection between the mother and the daughter character, and also the grandson. And it's interesting stuff, how those dynamics work, and how sometimes the love between grandma and the grandson is very strong and
Very
healthy.
strong, yes.
But then the daughter, for various reasons, is where things kind of,
Fall apart.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
And that's tough. I mean, because I would say in a piece like this, you could make a case, if you wanted to, that the daughter is the antagonist or the bad guy or the loose cannon. But in a way, she's just a person too. Just a person who's suffering, and a person who maybe doesn't have their act together. But a lot of people don't have their act together.
Exactly. And there's a scene there where the grandson says to me, I don't think Mom is going to come and see you. And I get very upset at him, not because she won't come and see me, but because he's not accepting her yet for who she is. She just can't do it.
Right.
She hasn't come to that point in her life yet where she can handle things.
And I believe in this piece, you worked with two actors who play the same character at different time ages.
Yes.
What's that like as an actor to go into a piece and you're playing, the grandma/mom character, and you have a guy who's probably 9 or 10 or 11?
That was Brandon's nephew.
Okay.
And I think it was his second time acting.
Right.
He had been doing something for Brandon just for practice. And he was a good little trooper.
Yeah. And then you have an actor who's maybe 25 years old, 23 to 25, something like that, who plays the same character, you know, half a generation older.
Yes.
So then you've got to take that same emotional content and apply it to another actor. What was that like for you, Gail?
It was interesting, never having met any of those actors. The first part that was really interesting was having a fight with Demetra, having met her 10 minutes earlier and having to really bring the anger and then bring the love of this grandson who, again, you don't really know. We had not gone over no table read or anything.
Okay.
So we had just met and it was just bring it.
Wow. So you're going in, that's
Cold.
intense. Yeah, cold. Yeah, that's, and maybe because of the scheduling issues with, you know, being a student production, but it seemed to work for me when I saw it. I remember that this piece did stand out quite well last year when I saw it, because I was watching maybe 20 or 25 student films in one night. They had so
Really?
many, yeah, at the student exhibition. So when you are brought with the writing and bringing your own talents, but not really having the benefits of many or any rehearsals, tell me about that, just coming onto set and just going for it.
And the same thing happened with this new one, too. I find myself learning the lines, but not putting the emotion into it until I'm right across from the actor.
Okay.
And then just let it come.
Wow.
And on this one, I had a moment where I just teared up. I couldn't help it from what he said to me. And one of the crew said afterwards, "You're doing a great job. You made me cry." So I thought, okay, I guess I'm doing it okay.
That's cool. It'd be good if you're like bringing tissues around to the crew. Hey, I'm just acting here. Please try to compose yourselves, people.
But it's so nice to hear that you're doing it right.
Right. Yeah. That's cool. And were you able to share, or Brandon, the director, share the film anywhere else locally, as far as local festivals or anything, or sitting down? Or?
Evidently, Nana was just local festivals, and this new one, An Older Affair, he's planning on going even as far as California with it.
Good.
But Nana, I have also shown once at the Council on Aging to anybody that wanted to see it. There weren't that many people there that day. But the director of the Council on Aging said, "I really want the grandparents raising grandchildren to see this one."
Right. And that's true, because I think people can have a cathartic journey, so to speak,
Yes.
with a piece that takes on a serious matter. I mean, just so many movies that we see in the history of cinemas. There's one, was a Mary Tyler Moore from 1980, 1981. That had the word people in the title.
Yeah, that was the only thing. People was coming to me, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
Ordinary People, I
Yeah,
think.
thanks.
That
Yeah.
was really something.
Yeah, the son passes away, and then the family has to deal with the repercussions. So when you have a film that takes on a serious subject matter, it does help people have that conversation about real issues.
It does.
Yeah.
And I think when Brandon writes something, he writes it so well. He writes it as if it were just happening. It's not stilted. He just has a way with him that I think makes it very ordinary but normal and something people want to watch.
Well, seeing the profound in the ordinary, or taking away that, here's the Jenkins house, and we don't know what's going on behind the closed doors. They look okay, but then you open the door and the Jenkins might have some type of real situation going on. Someone might have passed away. Someone might be being mentally abused or emotionally distraught or handicapped in some way, in this hypothetical scenario. But for a young guy like Brandon to be able to write these topics that are very profound, must be exciting for you as an actor to work with him.
It is, definitely. And to see how well he does with it. His crew is wonderful. He seems to choose other actors that are really right for the part.
Now, for those watching Messier Mantra who might want to get involved in student films, whether it's at University of Rhode Island and plenty of great schools up in Massachusetts. You know, I've had friends that went to Bridgewater Community College who do film stuff, and all types of schools, Emerson and all, RISD, you know, so many schools in New England. How would someone, do you have any advice for people who might want to be working with these student filmmakers to get some on-set experience and have some fun and be creative? Do you have any advice how they would get plugged in or involved?
I would say join New England Actor. A lot of the schools have found me that way. And also check newenglandfilms.com.
Okay.
That seems to be where the students advertise that they need help.
Right.
And I've done some, I didn't even know Mass Art had a film program, but I just did 3 weeks ago, I did a film for them. And then I just did one for Emerson, and that was 2 weeks ago. And then last week I did the one for University of Rhode Island.
NewEnglandFilm.com, I believe Michelle Meek runs that, and that is a great website. That's been around.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's been around for 15 years, and I got an HBO audition out of that thing.
Really?
Right at the very beginning of her site. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, believe it or not. Yeah, so that's outstanding. What are some of, when we talk about acting, you weren't an actor your whole life. You told me off camera that you did some other things, medical profession type of thing.
Yeah, I was an office manager for physicians for 30 years.
And you probably saw a lot of the human condition coming in and out of those doors, I would imagine. You saw...
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that probably just built this resume of life experiences, witnessing people in crisis, financially, physically, you know, operations that maybe they can or cannot afford, or all types of interesting things, right?
For 10 years, it was surgeons with some people with illnesses, some people with injuries. So it was very interesting. And then 20 years with a gastroenterologist, and still lots of stories there.
Right. And that's what I find with actors who start acting after doing other things in life. They don't realize that they've actually been building a resume or
Exactly.
a life experience just in living life, doing other things, the empathy, the sympathy, you know, the human
Yes.
condition.
Definitely.
Is there any particular situation that you can recall that you can talk about on the air, maybe, that doing Nana or this new piece triggers, you know, like you say, oh yeah, when this situation happened, you know, even 10, 15 years earlier, that situation in my real life or witnessing someone else's life kind of came back in one of these screenplays, one of these scripts. Is there anything like that that happened?
Well, in this new one of Brandon's, An Older Affair, it was just a simple line that the other actor said to me, and I think his name is Logan. He said, I patterned my marriage after yours. And it just triggered something about my parents who had such a wonderful marriage that I just teared up when he said it. And it was the right emotion for the right time.
Right. And it's amazing how that script was written from somebody totally different. He didn't know the context of how you heard it in your own, you know, life. And here it is, that same theme coming up.
Yeah, all of a sudden it just hit me.
You're able to tap into it.
Yes.
Yeah. And what are these student crews like? Because one thing we do harp on, and rightfully so, the director, writer of the piece, but you have, even on the college level, you have a director of photography, a cinematographer, you have the lighting people, the sound, everyone who's bringing this project to the table.
Always at least 2 sound people, at least 2 lighting people. They all know exactly what they're supposed to do.
Right.
And the Emerson crew was probably like 25 kids. The URI crew might have been 10 kids. Didn't really matter. They all seem to know exactly what they have to do. And with the larger crew, sometimes one of them is an expert at just one certain part of it, so that he will step back and not do anything for quite a while. But they all seem to know exactly what they're doing.
Nice.
And seem to like that particular part of filming.
Right. Well, it's when we were getting ready today, one of the, and thanks to our great crew here at Messier Mantra, Cody, Kevin, and Lucy. Lucy and I were having a little conversation. I think you were part of it too. We were saying that it's for me, I like writing the scripts and acting myself, but things like the technical aspects, you know, it's hard for me. You know, I can conceive an edited piece, but it's hard for me to get in there and manipulate the buttons and the segues. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of people, with film as a collaborative medium, a tough part of it is to accept you don't have to do everything. You don't have to specialize in every aspect of the game, so to speak.
Definitely not. No, I've taken every class they have at PAC TV in Plymouth. I didn't really like or enjoy the lighting.
Right.
I could do it, but it wasn't fun for me. Didn't really enjoy the sound with the boom, but I do enjoy the filming. I do enjoy the editing, and I like using the automated studio. The
Right.
sound part of that is just minimal, and I'm able to set the 3 cameras up so that I can just do them automatically, and I enjoy that a lot.
Right.
So I like being on the other side of the camera too.
Yeah.
It was one of those things, there's so much waiting around time
Right.
when you're acting that I got fascinated by what was on the other side.
And thanks to you, Gail, because you're going to, and thanks for Plymouth TV to have Messier Mantra coming to Plymouth.
Yes.
Yeah, so this episode
Exciting.
will be with our new friends in Plymouth as well. As I'm looking great.
That'll be fun.
Thank you, Plymouth. And of course, Seekonk, of course, bringing the mantra going on 2.5 years, I think, of doing this show.
Oh, I didn't realize it'd been that long.
Yeah,
That's
it goes
great.
by quick.
It does.
It goes by quick. The first episode was with a good friend of mine named Scorpio, a spoken word artist. And here we are, 55-something episodes in.
Wow.
Yeah, we've had boxing promoters, actors, all types of people. Environmentalists. Now, one thing I was saying, Gail, and you had a nice one before we went on the air, Messier Mantra. And so you said some nice things before we went on the air. What do you think a mantra, something you could share with people for living life?
The only one that comes to mind for me is something that I think about fairly often, to treat people the way you'd like to be treated.
That's a good one.
I really feel as though anybody you meet deserves your respect, and I hope that I get respect from people too. So it's definitely something that I feel always be nice to other people.
That's good. We're in a day and age where respect for people seems to be, it's kind of a day and age you have to remind people of that almost, you know, and this last political season was very brutal.
Yes,
on
it
both
was, yeah.
sides.
Yeah.
A lot of charges made, a lot of aggravations, and just, but that seems to be a part of almost the lack of culture is what I would call it. Just the amount of tabloid TV or programming that seems to invade people's personal lives, and just the acceptance and the tolerance of, well, such and such as a celebrity or a well-known person, so we can hack into their computer or we can hack into their phone and see their intimate pictures, or we've audio recorded someone saying something, you know, but it seems like just a common level of decency has eroded in society. Any thoughts on that, Gail?
I think a lot of it has to do with parents not spending as much time with their children as they're bringing them up, and therefore they just don't seem to be as respectful of their elders as, say, my children's age.
Right.
It doesn't seem as though people care as much about spending time with their families as they used to. It's more just farm them out to this lesson, that lesson, and somebody else is watching them, not me.
Right.
So I think that the connectivity of families is eroding.
Was there a point in your life that you saw that developing in general, where people started, you're very honest when you said, farming their kids out? Like, all families have to have 2 people making money, or everyone's got to be having their own hobbies and interests. So we've got to, put the kids in the daycare, or, the soccer practice. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make a big point, and of course every situation is different, but
I think when we were bringing our children up, that it wasn't as much that you needed to have 2 cars and a huge house and 3 bathrooms and everything right away, instead of just taking things in stages. So I stayed home until my kids were old enough, and then I started working.
right.
So there was definitely a mom connection with the kids.
Right.
And most of the kids in the neighborhood came to our house,
Right.
played in our yard or inside the house.
You were the fun mom in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I really liked doing things with the kids.
Yeah, that's good.
But even as our kids grew up, they still enjoyed doing things with us, even when they were in college.
Right.
They would still go places with us. So there was a good connection there, and a good connection between, we have 2 kids and they both enjoy each other.
What are your kids' names? Give them a shout out.
Joan and Paula.
Oh, great. And how they're doing well now?
Yes, they are.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. And have they seen
And
your
they-
acting? Have they experienced it?
Yeah, they have. Yeah. Come to some of my premieres and seen some of my things just online.
Right. And they enjoyed what they saw.
Yeah,
Hey, we know
definitely.
mom can do that.
Yeah. Well, Mom didn't know she could do it either.
Yeah, right. So we've only got about a minute left. We'll have you on another episode to talk about more of your projects. But is there anything in just a few seconds we have left on this one you want to say to the Messier Mantra audience?
That's a tough one. Just that you might as well try and enjoy what you're doing, especially once you retire. Find something that you love, have a passion for, and just go for it.
Yeah, that's great. Because that's a great attitude to have. I think people of all ages should know that.
True, yeah.
So many people are spending times, video games, smartphone, and we are becoming a little inhuman in our humanity, or lack thereof. But people, May 12th, URI campus. If they don't see it then, look for the piece Nana online. I'm sure it'll come up
I'm sure it'll be on YouTube.
eventually. Yep. I want to thank you, Gail Sullivan, for being on Messier Mantra.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching this episode of Messier Mantra. We'll see you next time.